Well, at this point in the season, you'll take the win, but I see some real issues with this Kings team that we're going to get into it with Rhino in Sacktown. But you'll take the W, light the beam, 121 to 111, and Ryan joins us. Now, I don't know the magnitude of Kevin Herter's injury, but here's what I do know. Without Herter, without Lyles, and still no Sasha Vezenkov, the Kings lose a lot of their deep shooting threat. Keon Ellis is not an offensive player, okay? Davion Mitchell is not an offensive player. I mean, tonight, again, another example of that. You had Keon Ellis play 34 minutes, and he scored 5 points. He played very well, okay?
Yeah.
But he's not going to give you offense on most nights. And so
that's why he works. That's why he works.
That's correct. But it only works when you have other offensive players around him that are able to score. And right now, I'm not happy with what I'm seeing from Keegan Murray offensively. And Harrison Barnes is like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get from game to game. So I got to tell you, Ryan, this is not what you want with 15 games. Ryan, the Kings had to do everything to beat a bad team tonight. The Kings are fortunate this game went into overtime.
They are very lucky it went into overtime because there was a few mistakes that could have been the end, and this would have been right up there with the bad losses. But Grant, we talked about like how players don't show up sometimes, but the Kings have gotten by, right? They're a good team this year, which they are.
Yes,
well, there's no more of that. There's no more of that anymore because if Keon Ellis is going in that starting lineup, there's no expectation that you're drawing up plays for him, Napes. That means there's more on the bone for Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray. They need to get into it, and the coaches need to get creative.
Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray, in particular, have to start scoring more. They have to start scoring more.
You're starting for, so we're starting to see these stats that usually need to be set in stone for a Kings victory. One you've pointed out, 30 assists, under 10 turnovers, right? The next one that I've pointed out, the Kings are 11-4 when they have 10 or more steals. That means they're usually shooting the three ball well and they're winning the transition game, okay? Here's the new one. You have to have 4 starters in double digits.
Yeah. By the way, for the people that think I'm negative, don't even watch. You save yourself an hour and don't even bother watching, okay? Because I'm not looking at any positives out of the game tonight except for one, which is the biggest positive. The Kings won, okay? They lost a starter, and again, I don't know the magnitude of his injury, but it didn't look good, so that's really bad, okay? Your point guard, to me, needs to get his head in the game, stop turning the ball over. You pointed this out earlier. Stop arguing with the refs after every game. That's a real concern to me. Sabonis is great. The guy is great. He's one of the top players in the league. But you're getting very little from Barnes. You're getting very little from Murray, relatively speaking, okay? Now you're going to have your bench is now smaller if Herter is indeed out of the lineup as you hit the road. And here's the other deal, Ryan. I keep on talking about this. After the next 2 games, your final 13 games are brutal, okay? Yes. You have a brutal finishing stretch to this season.
It's nasty, but with this team this year, that's what they need. They need top competition. Iron sharpens iron with them. So I expect them to do okay. But Grant, these 3 games, you've said if they're going to get the 6th seed, you got to win these 3. You got to.
Wow. With 30 seconds left, I thought the Kings were going to lose this game. I really did. Keegan Murray misses the first free throw.
Yes.
Misses the second free throw. The Kings got the offensive rebound, and then Monk with the dunk, right?
Yes.
And that was huge. But think about this. You're at the line down 113 to 111, and you missed 2 free throws.
story of the season at the free throw
Yeah.
line, and they were actually shooting free throws not terrible tonight. In the first quarter, I believe they were 9 of 11 for just around 90%. So they're capable. It's just, Grant, they've got to get used to playing in these big pressure
Yeah.
moments. They
All
just
right.
do.
Peter, I'm sorry. I could not disagree with you more. If you think Kevin Herter getting hurt is probably a good thing, then you don't understand the game. Okay?
Yeah.
You're wrong. Okay? Now, if you want to debate whether he should be starting or not, I'm fine with that. We can debate that and we can have a really good discussion. But the Kings are not, listen to me, they are not a better team without Kevin Herter. Okay? And if you think they are, then you do not understand basketball and you do not understand this Kings team. They're not a better team without Herter. Okay? If he doesn't start, he would have come off the bench. And Ryan made a very good point either last game or the game before. When Herter was coming off the bench in the middle of the season for a while, he gave the team some spark off the bench. Look at the bench now with Keon Ellis having to go into the starting lineup now, assuming that Herter is not able to play in the next game. And I don't know that. We're just speaking hypothetically.
Yeah.
Your bench now isn't very deep. It wasn't very deep to begin with. Now it's really not. You got an issue there.
It's the weirdest bench, it feels like, that I've seen in a long time, because on paper, it's like the deepest bench the Kings have had in a while. But then there's games where it's like, who are they going to go to? So now, Grant, the two names that immediately come to mind, it's going to be Chris Duarte, and Alex Len. Those are the two that are going to get thrust right into the middle of this, and they're going to have to step up. I thought Alex did tonight.
Well, stepping up against Memphis is one thing. I want to see him step up when you play Philly, Dallas twice. I want Orlando's red hot. You play them in 3 games. Let's see. Again, we talk about health all the time. And right now, the health on the Kings is an issue. It just is. I mean, the Kings have been relatively lucky in that department, and now it's starting to bite them a little bit.
Well, can we point to this? They have not played a physical brand of basketball consistently the last 2 seasons. The last 5 to 7 games, that's what it's been. And how many guys have gone down, Grant?
Yeah. Well,
Herter, Trey.
Again, yeah. I mean, but the good news is they won the game when really for a while it looked like they were going to lose the game. I mean, I really thought with 34 seconds left, it was 33 seconds left. I really thought the Kings were going to lose the game. I really did.
Yeah. And Malik Monk, he's worth his weight in gold. I've been seeing Malik means king in Arabic, but anyways, Malik, he just brings something. He jump starts this team, and that's who carried him through. He literally carried them through this overtime period tonight.
Well, we'll see. And again, Kevin Herter might be playing in the next game. I don't know. I don't know. He might be fine. He might have had a stinger, right? I mean, I don't know. He might be fine. We can't just assume that he's not going to be playing. I'm speaking as if he doesn't, but he might be good to go in the next game. We don't know. Yeah. We haven't had a report yet.
Yeah, it was a weird play because it looks like all of the pressure comes down on that hand, but many times that reverberates up the arm and into the collarbone.
Exactly. And so, I mean, it could be what we call a stinger, Ryan. And that's if it's a stinger, he could be fine for the game coming up against Toronto. Hey, all right. So we talk about Gold Country Veterinary and Hospital. They're a full service veterinary and hospital. So how about these cases today? They did a liver lobe removal in a cat. They removed an infected salivary gland in a dog. They repaired a torn ACL in 2 dogs. They treated a dog with acute glaucoma. So I think you get the idea. They do it all. They have the best in pain management protocols. And if your pet is in need of emergency care or regular care or whatever the case may be, Gold Country Veterinary and Hospital is there for you. Not only in Auburn, but serving all of the foothills, Sacramento as well. And Dr. Griffiths and his staff, they do it all. They do it all.
If you would like your pet to have better health insurance than you, Gold Country is the place.
Oh, my God.
I mean, it's true.
121 to 111. The Kings in overtime get the job done.
They get it done. Grant, what do you say we bring some of the fans in on it? You
Yeah,
ready for a few calls? Let's
let's
do
do
it.
it.
All right. Michael, welcome back to the
Hi,
show. How you doing tonight?
how are you good?
Hey, Michael.
Doing good. Well, it's been King's strength though. They're 5-1, I believe, in
Hey,
overtime.
hey,
We got
Mike,
a
I gotta
bad
put you
connection.
back in. Yeah, Mike, I gotta put you back in the audience. There was a bad connection. Try to reconnect and we will circle back. We welcome in Zach, the NBA guru. What's up, man?
How you guys doing tonight?
Good.
What's happening?
I mean, I got a few pointers for this Memphis game. Just wanted to go back to the Knicks game. A lot of people, I was at the game. A lot of people talking about Keon versus Herder and should we start Keon? I don't think it was a big problem, especially that game. Herder played 15 minutes. Ellis is playing 30 minutes. I mean, it's not a big deal with his starting and who's starting, who's not. Whoever's finishing the game is more important. Grant always says that. And Keon's been getting the minutes now, so I really don't think that should be brought up anymore. You know,
But what needs to be bringing up is Keon Ellis is a good fit for this team. We agree on that.
yep,
But he is not. He is what he is. Okay. And now, when you don't have, if you have games where Keegan Murray and Harrison Barnes are quiet offensively, and you have Keon Ellis in a starting lineup, you all of a sudden go from one of the top offensive teams in the league to a team that's not a threat offensively. That's the issue, okay, that I see. I think this really puts the burden now on, and again, I don't know if Kevin Herter is playing against Toronto. I don't have that information. We're only talking as if he misses a couple of games. If he misses a couple of games, in his absence, you need both Murray and Barnes to pick up the scoring.
100% agree. If Keon's in the game, he's gonna keep you guys in defense. That should
Yes.
give more energy to Murray, and he should be
Yes.
playing better on offense. So there's no doubt about that. The only thing Kevin really does, he's like you said before, like you guys said before, he's not useful if he's not making shots and stuff. But there is one thing that he's useful a little bit, and that's when he's getting chased around the whole game. He gives spacing for the Kings. And that's what I kind of like about him. But, I do like the way Brown played him in the Knicks game. If he's not making a few shots, you got to take him out and put Ellis in. That's the way it should be done. And now it's time for Murray and Barnes to pick it up.
So
Mhm.
I just want to draw a quick line because I actually disagree with something you said, Grant. The loss of Kevin Herter doesn't make this drastically worse offensive team, Zach. I don't think it does. What I think it does is make it a drastically different offensive team. Before the Kings ran not a very big schematic plan. It was more of a conceptual offense. It's got to be schematic. You've got to draw up plays. You got to play through Domas. It's going to be structured. I mean, it's what it's got to be.
Well, I think it changes the way teams go about playing defense against the Kings. When you have Keon Ellis on the floor as opposed to Kevin Herter, it changes the way you play defense.
Exactly. And that's what Zach just said. And so the Kings are also going to have to adapt. So I don't know if that's going to make their offense worse or if it's going to make it better.
Yeah, we'll see. I just want to see Keon make his open threes. And now I kind of get a little bit shaky now because sometimes when they close out on him, he starts dribbling inside and he starts losing the ball. So I think teams are going to be looking at that when he's getting closed out. He has to go inside.
So does De'Aaron Fox.
It's called scouting. I talked about this last week. It's called scouting. There's a lot more video on Ellis, and teams are going to be able to play him differently than they played him 3 and 4 weeks ago. It's part of the evolution of being a player in this league. And teams are going to find a weakness and they will attack it. That's part of the game.
100% agree. Couple other things I want to say. Monk, absolutely just great stuff. Don't forget that bet, Ryan. We still got that bet coming up in the summer.
We do.
So excited to see what happens there. And I want to talk about one big thing that's been going on. The referees. I don't know what's going on. I feel like they're reversing extreme on the other end, not giving enough calls. I mean, Sabonis is getting hacked like crazy. They missed that call in the Knicks game at the end. I just want to see what are your thoughts on it? I mean, I kind of like the tougher D, less calls. I definitely like that. I love that. I love the way the Knicks game was getting even called. But there's been a little bit of some suspect. Like we got to call some of these things at some point.
I agree. I think the officiating last year was subpar, and I think it's been at the same level this year. I thought it might get better, and it hasn't.
The problem to me isn't so much the officials. The problem is instant replay. When there is no mechanism to reverse or call a foul like you saw in Malik Monk, and a coach can challenge that because the ball went off Malik, and the entire arena, the entire world is watching a ref's blatant mistake, and the NBA has no way to fix it. It's embarrassing all around. You got to fix it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of inconsistent with the calls too. I mean, I think Jaren Jackson ran over Sabonis. They called that offensive. He also ran over Keegan Murray near the end. They didn't call anything there. I do see the replays is a big thing, but they just got to get the call in real life too. They got can't just talk on the thing. But also one thing, Fox, man, are we getting a little bit scared when he's not taking over the games in the fourth like he did last year and just giving it over to Monk and he's the one taking over? Should we be a little bit worried, or it's just not the fourth quarter clutch player of the year like we had last year?
Oh, he's definitely not. He's not. I thought he was very sloppy with the ball tonight. Ryan pointed this out to me at halftime, and I think he is spot on with this. He's getting involved with the officials too much. I think it's affecting his play. He needs to shut up and play the game. He's following. You're going to see the worst guy in the league next week for 2 games at Golden One Center, Luka Doncic. He's the worst. It takes the enjoyment for me personally from watching the game. I hate watching the Mavs play because of Luka. And it's a shame because he is arguably as entertaining as any player in the league. But I can't stand his berating of the official on every single possession. And I don't like what I'm seeing from De'Aaron Fox. And Ryan and I were talking about this even off air. Ryan, you brought it up to me first, so I'll let you take it from here. But I don't think that is conducive to him playing at his highest level.
Absolutely not, because his mind is not on the game. His mind's on the refs. You guys know if something's bugging you or you feel like you're being done wrong, that affects people. And it's not just the referees, Grant. There was a play in the first half tonight where he could have dived on the floor for the ball. Every single post game, Mike Brown, here's how many spray threes we have. Here's how many 50 balls we got. And the fact that De'Aaron didn't dive, like, I'm seeing Keon dive. I'm seeing Davion dive. I'm seeing Keegan Murray put his body on the line. And so when I look at what he's doing with the refs and I look at stuff like that, when both of them are happening, now I'm kind of worried. If it's just one,
I'm a little worried with Fox. I hope he gets it together. Maybe it is the referees. I don't know. There was a call in the fourth where he was yapping at the refs, and I didn't even see him get fouled. And I think there was a replay of him giving that dunk to Monk, and the crowd went crazy. And then he looked at the ref and he said that was a foul. I read his lips. He is definitely a little bit too much for the refs. I mean, maybe someone's got to tell him. I mean, the coaches watch him. Someone's got to tell him something like that. And I just want to say also, Keon Ellis is absolutely elite on defense. Got to give this man props. Best player on the team for defense, I think, as of lately. So let's keep seeing that.
Yeah, and it's too bad because the video of the final play against Brunson the other night where he looked as bad as any defensive player in the league. It's a shame because a lot of people around the league don't know anything about Keon Ellis, and that was on every single social media site and everything, and it made him look bad. And it's a shame because that's the furthest from the truth of what he does. Yeah, he got caught looking. It was a bad play. And he looked bad, but it's unfortunate because, again, a lot of people around the NBA, they have no idea who this kid is. And, that's not an image you want to have. But we know in Sacramento that the guy's a damn good defensive player.
Yeah, let the casuals think that. That's fine. They'll be surprised when they come see the Kings play, and Ellis is just tight on them. So
thank you, buddy.
Thanks.
All right, I want to tell you, Ryan, before we move on, about New Works Plumbing. They've got a fix for you. They're available around the clock 24/7 for all of your plumbing needs and repairs. Go to sackserviceplumbing.com or call that number on your screen. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. And again, sackserviceplumbing.com or call the number on your screen. 121 and 111, Sacramento in OT. They needed a shot from Fox to get him in the overtime. Monk with a dunk off, 2 missed free throws by Murray, which, again, how many games this year have we seen the Kings miss free throws in the final 60 seconds or the final 30 seconds with the game hanging in the balance? It's unbelievable to me. I mean, it's happening all the freaking time. Malik Monk has had, how many free throws has Monk missed with the game hanging in the balance this year? You know, the Milwaukee game just as one, and we can go on and on. I mean, it's a concern, you know, and the Kings got the offensive rebound, and then the ball goes to Murray, and or Monk rather, and Monk made the dunk to tie the game. So not a recipe for success. Keep the messages coming. I don't know if the team gets rattled in pressure situations. They had a pressure situation tonight, and they came through. I think sometimes they do. You know, I think sometimes they do. But, you know, again, there's not a lot of positives in this game. 121 and 111. Not a lot of positives. I mean, Herter got hurt. Hopefully he can play against Toronto. We don't know yet. And you beat a bad team tonight, and you had to go to overtime, you know? All right, Rhino, are you with us, buddy? You good? I can't hear you. We can't hear you. Can't hear you. I'll put you back. Yeah, no sound. Yeah. Yeah, we lost Rhino, and then, but I could not hear him. Could you guys hear Rhino right then? Let me try it again. Can you hear him? Rhino, go ahead. Hello, Rhino. Can you hear me? All right. Well, that sucks. See if we can get him on. All right. All right. 121 to 111. Matthew says the bench was stagnant besides Monk. Very true. All right. Very true. Thank you, everyone. We got the fact that we couldn't hear him and he wasn't on. So thank you very much. I will just say this. At this point in the season, you know, you win the game and you can move on to the next game. Okay. I don't know what it is about the Kings and inferior teams this year. It's beyond puzzling to me. You know, it's beyond puzzling to me. All right. Condog, it's your turn, man. Go ahead.
All right. So first things first, I want to lay down just what I believe the 4 through 7 to 8 standings are going to be. I got the Clippers 4 with 52, Pelicans 5 with 50 wins, Sacramento Kings at 6 with 47, Dallas Mavericks 7 at 47, and Phoenix Suns 8 at 46. But it's going to come down to that Phoenix game at the end.
I have it a little bit differently, but I appreciate that that's the direction you're going. So you got the Kings and the Mavs tied, and the Kings winning the tiebreaker because they'll split the 2 games coming up with Dallas, right? That's the way you see it.
Yeah, I do have Dallas winning one of those games, but we would lead the series. So, and then the Phoenix series, I have us leading that series 3-2, and that gives us the edge there.
Yep. I'm not worried about Phoenix as much because they have a very, very difficult schedule.
That's schedule. That's why I only have them winning 46, even though they're at 39. Their schedule is ridiculous.
I think the Kings are going to have a really difficult time beginning with Orlando. I think that stretch beginning with Orlando, 1 day off, cross-country flight, Philly, and then the Dallas the next night. That is 3 games in 4 nights, very difficult. Then you have a day off, and then you play Dallas again. The Kings, to me, the fact that they have to go east again is a real problem for me, where they have to play the Knicks, the Celtics, they have to play the Nets, and then they end that trip in Oklahoma City, and then they come home and play New Orleans and Phoenix. That's a stretch I don't see them getting over. I just don't. So we'll see. That's why you play the games, right?
Yeah, it is. And this team, you know, it'll surprise you. You know, the games that are easy, they make them hard, and the games that are hard, they sometimes make them easy.
Yeah, very well said. All right, buddy. Appreciate the call. Thank you very much for joining us. If you want to get in on the program, you can do so. Again, the important thing here is Sacramento won the game, 121 and 111. That's it. I mean, we can break this game down however you want. Were they sloppy at times? Yes. Did they have some issues at times? Yes. But the bottom line is they won the game. Hey, I want to tell you about Blazona Development, and I want to tell you about CalusaSunrise.com. If you go to CalusaSunrise.com, you can check out everything for yourself at Sunrise Landing. And many models to choose from. No Mellorews, no homeowners. Beautiful area of Calusa with great access to many of the major arteries such as I-5 and Highway 20. And it's a great place. So again, if you go to CalusaSunrise.com, you can check out Sunrise Landing from Blazona Development. Again, that is CalusaSunrise.com and Blazona Development. Kings win in OT tonight, 121-111. And now they hit the road for 3 games against a team that's lost 7 in a row and 9 of 10 in Toronto. And then the very next night, you play the very worst team in the NBA. Worst team in the league. You're playing the Washington Wizards, who have only 11 wins. So I don't care whether you're playing a doubleheader, all right? In other words, if you had to play Toronto and then you only had a 30-minute break to grab something to eat, and then you got to play Washington, you should still beat Washington. They're that bad. All right. Ryan's got internet issues, says has a great night. Thank you. And light the beam. Special thanks to Eric Snyder and his daughter. Thank you, buddy. Your salary will be affected by the shortness of your labor for this game. We appreciate that. Oh, what would we do without the internet, huh? Oh, my goodness gracious. All right. Again, the Kings with the victory, 121 to 111. Don't forget that we will have all the coverage for you on this road trip with Toronto. Ryan with the pregame at 4 o'clock, tip-off at 4:30 from TO on Wednesday. Then the very next night in the nation's capital, and then the Kings close it out in Orlando. And, boy, the Magic are playing very well. They're a good team. They are a very good team. All right, so Gabe wants to know, are they willing to pay Malik? They're willing to, they're willing to pay him. The question is, how much are they willing to pay? All right. He's going to get paid. Okay. He's going to get paid. The question is, will it be Sacramento or not? And I personally don't think that this is something we should be talking about right now. All right. I don't think that we should be talking about this now. We should be talking about, can the Kings get into the 6th spot? And then if so, how are they going to do in the playoffs? We shouldn't be worrying about Malik Monk and how much money is going to get paid and everything else. All right? Can't do it. Worry about it at the end of the season. Don't worry about it now. All right? Don't worry about it now. All right. Keep the messages coming. Don't forget all the programming. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so. Also, give us a thumbs up, and we would really appreciate that. You know, do you people not understand how the NBA works? Like, you really think the Kings need Colby and Edwards or Skal Labissiere off the bench? Come on now, would you please? You know, I keep on saying this, and I'm going to keep saying it again. You win and lose in the NBA with your top 8 guys. That's how you win. That's what you lose. Occasionally, you're going to get a player at the end of the bench or on a two-way, okay? Keon Ellis, you're going to get a player who occasionally breaks through and plays very well. But for the most part, those players are in the G League for a reason, okay? Like, I don't get the infatuation with these players. I really don't. Worry about your top 8 guys. You know, that's where you should be. Worry about the top 8. Don't worry about guys that are playing in Stockton with the Kings. All right? Come on now. Got to be realistic. You got 15 games left. You don't have time to be messing around with Skal Labissiere. All right? And I love Skal. Love the guy. Huge fan of him as a person. Love him. Love the guy. But come on now. I mean, if you really were interested in bringing an NBA caliber player, you had your opportunity, and you could have signed Isaiah Thomas to a 10-day deal. But now he's in Phoenix. So, again, understand what you win and lose with in the NBA. It's your top 8 players on almost every single team, maybe 9. You don't win with your 11th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th players. You don't. There are exceptions from time to time, okay? But for the most part, that's the way it is, plain and simple. So, you gotta be realistic about this. All right, you got to be realistic about this. You just can't be like, oh, gee, I saw him play well in one game against a bad team for 5 minutes, and I think now all of a sudden that's where we should go in terms of personnel. You got to be realistic about this at this point in the season. Okay, this is not the time when you experiment. Okay, you don't go with what you know. All right, and Mike Brown knows that. So. All right, I want to talk to you about Fosters and Paws, a group of animal advocates. And right now, they currently have 20 puppies ready for adoption. But in a few weeks, when the pups are older, they will have 70 pups ready for adoption. So right now, 20 ready for adoption, 70 in a couple of weeks. If you go to fostersandpaws.org/adopt, maybe one of those puppies will be in your home in the very near future. Again, animal advocates, they do a great job. Fosters and Paws, fostersandpaws.org/adopt. All right. Kings in overtime, 121 to 111. All right. 121 to 111. Did you think the Kings were going to win with 33 seconds left? Down by 2? I didn't. Especially after Keegan missed that first free throw. I'm like, oh, my God. And then he missed the second. And thank goodness for Monk. Thank goodness. So, again, road trip tomorrow, long flight. And, again, you can break this game down any way you want. There's not a lot of positives in this game other than they won. Keegan Murray needs to play better. Harrison Barnes needs to play better because we do not know the status yet. I'm going to look it up on my phone real quick. We do not know the status of Kevin Huerter yet. All right? We don't. And if the Kings have to play on the road, shorthanded, again, they're in a must-win situation right now with this schedule. That's why tonight was so important. You played a team that's not very good. You're playing a team that's lost 7 in a row coming up. Okay? And, Malik Monk, yeah, you can count on him. What did he have? 12 points tonight in overtime? The guy was sensational. I mean, the guy has been a lifesaver for this team this year. But what happens if you get him on an off night with that bench right now? If you don't have Huerter as a starter, and now Ellis goes into the starting lineup. And again, he's not an offensive player anyway. But again, the point is, who's going to fill the void? Because whether you like Kevin Huerter or not, he still is a threat from the 3-point line. Okay? And you can't just ignore that. You can't make believe that that's not true. It is true. It is exactly that right. And now when you don't have Trey Lyles and you still don't have Sasha Vezenkov, you live and die by the 3, right? Are the Kings a little bit better defensively now with Ellis? Yes, they are. No question. But you still win and lose by the 3. And, maybe the next 2 games don't concern me, but I will tell you this. From then on forward, do you want me to read the schedule again? Because I like doing it every game. So here we go. You start off playing in Orlando. Have you looked at the Orlando Magic's record and how good they are and how well they're playing? You think that's going to be an easy game? There are no easy games for Sacramento. All right. Then you have a cross-country flight, Orlando to Sacramento. Depending on the wind, we're talking 5.5 hours, 5 at the least. 1 day off, Philadelphia, who you do not match up well against even without Embiid. Then the next night, Dallas. That's 3rd game in 4 nights. against a team that you have to win at least one game against. Then you have a couple of days off to regroup, and you have Dallas again on the 29th. Then you have the Jazz at home. The Jazz have played the Kings tough, with the exception of opening night. You have the Clippers, who probably by then will have found themselves. They've lost 4 or 5. Then you hit the road again at New York, at Boston, at Brooklyn, at Oklahoma City. You could easily lose 3 of those games. At New York, at Boston. The Boston's back-to-back. You're not going to beat Boston. Don't know who's playing for the Knicks. OG is now out again, but will he be back by April 4th? Then you come home from Oklahoma City, 1 day off, New Orleans, who has eaten you up this year, Phoenix, and then Portland. So again, starting with the Orlando game. Hello. You better not lose to Toronto. You better not lose to Washington. And that's why tonight was so crucial. All right? Period. So crucial. All right, again, don't forget, Toronto, Ryan with the pregame show, coming your way at 4 o'clock, and then tip-off at 4:30, and we'll be back at halftime. Hey, have you been to Bennett's, one of their 3 locations, Sacramento, Roseville, and the West Side Grill in Rockland? Very easy to check it out. Go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. That's Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Prime seafood and steak. Make a reservation. Check out the menu and more. Again, that is Bennett's. Phenomenal. You'll love it. Don't forget, happy hour specials during the week on apps and drinks. 60 different types of wine available by the glass. The weekend brunch, the weekend prime rib, all there for you at Bennett's. Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Final 121 to 111. Thank you. Appreciate it. Talk to you from the road. Kings, Raptors, Wednesday, right here. If you don't like that, make it a good one, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.